Hey tiny lovers, today we're looking at 4 not so tiny small homes ranging from 399 square feet to 1,000 square feet. We're kicking it off with Suzie's Texas-sized tiny home. Her home has 2 downstairs bedrooms plus a standing height loft. Check it out.
Hi, my name is Suzie Mackey and welcome to my tiny home. Come on and let's take a tour. Welcome to my living room. Before I went tiny, I actually lived in a traditional home right on a golf course. My home was basically 2,500 square foot. I had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, large traditional dining room with an office, a master bath. Now I'm down to basically 400 square foot at the bottom, and then the loft will equate to about 600. I have basically 12 feet walls. The total height of my ceiling is basically 20 feet. So it gives you the illusion that it's actually large. My design is rustic, minimalist, modern decor. I have to be very conscientious as to what I bring in. So all the pieces that I have is what I love, what brings me joy. I have mirrors that matches the trim around the house that kind of gives you that rustic look. Very minimal items on my fireplace. This fireplace is amazing because it actually heats up my whole entire house. In fact, we had to shut it off because it was getting way too warm. And of course, I have a leather couch that folds out. Very, very comfortable. Perfect height to see our television, which is a 55-inch TV. So it really is nice. This is a stick-built home. It was just a shell of a home. It didn't have a whole lot. And we basically built this house that you are currently seeing. It was a labor of love. We have 800 square foot of decking. We installed a pondless waterfall that brings us a lot of joy. You can hear it, it's gorgeous. So I don't really miss my traditional home. My husband calls the porch his office. We sit outside and we enjoy listening to the waterfall, and we have our coffee and things are slower. It really is nice. Welcome to my kitchen. I tell you what, I'm so happy with my kitchen. I went from a very large kitchen. I had tons of countertops and so forth, but guess what? I really do not miss any of that. I have everything that I need. Everything is at reach. It is so simple. I can cook real quick. I can clean. It's like having a short order cook prep station in a small area, and it works. I really, really love it. One thing I am very thrilled about is the fact that with the smaller space, you can add higher end renovations because it's less expensive to do so in a smaller space. So I've really enjoyed that. When I did my upgrade, I put this very nice quartz countertop. Love, love, love my full-size dishwasher. This country sink is fantastic. Check out my faucet. I have a full-size pantry where I can put a lot of food. It's very, very tall, so I have a lot of area. And I have deep drawers for my towels, forks and knives, and of course, storage for organizations. I have a full-size oven, microwave, and I love my air fryer. I have a full-size refrigerator, and it has a deep set freezer along with a full capacity refrigerator. I am not missing out on anything. All of these appliances were basically at my other house. So I really, really love how I'm able to utilize this whole area. The reason why I went tiny, it was just a mishmash of things. My husband at the time walked in and said he was working at somewhere for 20 years that he hated. And it really resonated with me that something had to change. And also, during that time, I was very ill. I had neck surgery, literally laying on the floor for about 8 months, and I was contemplating my life. In doing so, you think about what brings you joy. I was laying there and I noticed we went into our bedroom, our kitchen, our bathroom, and the laundry room. And that was it. I had 5 other rooms that we didn't even enter. I had a China curio cabinet that I had its own dedicated room. So I bought into the golden handcuffs. I just did not want to do that anymore. I wanted to downsize. Then after my surgery, I decided I was going to put the house on the market. I was just uploading pictures. Within the 19 hours of doing so, 3 people came by and it was a price war for my original house. I ended up picking the Water's Edge tiny home and it worked for me. I am very, very happy, extremely fortunate to be able to find this place and make that decision to go tiny. It is such a blessing that I was able to do this. Had I known, I would have done that a long time ago. Going through the hallway, I have a full-size washer and dryer, which is a blessing. It's stackable and it's LG, and barn doors are a must because here is my storage area. This is an area where I hold my laundry basket and, just these extra items that you end up having, and you can slide this and it goes away. It's very, very nice. You can close it off. Just behind me is my bathroom. I have a different setup for my bathroom. I have an area where the shower is and I have an area where the sink is, which allows us to basically brush our teeth and close off that area and someone can go take a shower and do whatever they need to do with privacy. So I love this. I have a 2-sink bathroom, which is great. One for him, one for me. This is my side where all my makeup is. And this is my husband's side with all his hygiene materials. I have plenty of drawer space where I have my makeup, another for toothpaste and skincare, and another drawer. They're all deep and house everything that I possibly need. Pocket doors are essential to a tiny house because it doesn't take space. So if you open up this area, this is where my shower and my toilet is. I love my shower. I have plenty of space. My contractor used large tiles with no grout, which makes life easier in terms of cleaning. It's very simplistic. I have this shower head that basically goes all the way to the end of the shower. When I get older, I can just get a seat here, and I'm planning to retire here. So I'm preparing for all those things. I love the ability to house all of my towels and products. I also have a little bit of storage area for, toilet tissues and whatnot. I really love my bathroom. This is the master bedroom. And the fact that it's in the main floor is huge, not having to go upstairs. I think it's important that, we can put a wheelchair if necessary or a walker. I have a back door that goes all the way around the house. I can go front to the back. Plus I got a ramp there just in case for the future for wheelchairs and whatnot. So I'm thinking ahead for my retirement. We have barn doors for our closet, his and hers, and a large area where we put our socks or different things that we need. I have a storage area for our shoes, and it also acts as a bench to sit on to put your shoes on, which makes it very, very nice. This is a queen size bed, so that allows for a lot of room here. And if you notice the high ceilings, it's 20 feet, so this room feels very, very large. You don't feel cramped. It's comfortable and cozy. You know what's exciting about this particular tiny home? It's not usual that you have 2 bedrooms that can house 2 queen beds. It was perfect because I'm able to invite my daughter or guests. They were really, really good about laying out our whole tiny home situation where they positioned 2 bedrooms. Also, what's nice about it, it has a hydraulic lift bed. Look at the storage capacity that you have here. So both rooms have this exact bed, and I got this from IKEA. It has extra drawers for your guest. We have a full closet from IKEA, which is wonderful. It slides open. You have hanging areas. You have pull-outs. So IKEA is your friend. How I was able to pay this house off completely, I sold my original house. It had equity, so I was able to just pay this off cash, and I am debt-free completely. When I purchased this home, I only paid $90,000. I actually did some renovations to kind of make it more personal. So I added an additional $40,000 on top of that, but I made it my own. I've added a beautiful pondless waterfall and 800 square foot deck, high-end countertops, a beautiful walk-in bathroom. It cost me $3,200 to live in the house that I was living in, with taxes and insurance, association fees, electricity. It cost $3,200, and it was paid off. The lot rent here at Water's Edge is $700 a month, and you have to pay for your own electricity, water, and cable. With $700, the amenities that you receive in living here, it's phenomenal. 150 feet away, you have the lake, you have a boat ramp, you have a clubhouse, a full Olympic-size swimming pool. So it's very nice, but most importantly, I have the lake view. Welcome to my loft space. To me, having a tiny house doesn't necessarily mean you should do without. In my case, I had a wonderful builder that was able to build my house taller, which allows me the luxury of standing up at a loft. I work from home basically 4 days a week. I'm up here for 8 hours on the computer, and I have this whole area where I'm comfortable and I'm able to work out comfortably. It's been wonderful. I highly recommend, if you have the ability, to have the builder build your tiny home tall, so you have that extra space upwards on your loft where you can stand and really utilize your space. You can make this into another bedroom if need be. Thank you for visiting my tiny home, and if you want to know a little bit more about me, go to my Facebook and/or Instagram. Links will be provided in the description.
Now, how often do you see a tiny home with a guest bedroom and an office? Comment below, what was your favorite feature from Suzie's home? Up next, we have Charles and Sonia's small home that comes in at about 1,000 square feet. Let's take a look.
One of the biggest gains that we've realized was being mortgage free at this time. It's taken a lot of pressure off of being retired, semi-retired, and just looking forward to the rest of our days.
We're having a blast. We're in our beautiful kitchen. We love it. This is our third IKEA kitchen. We absolutely love IKEA. If you can not have to have custom cabinets because of your space requirements, I highly recommend going with an IKEA kitchen. Easy to design. Everything pulls out very easily. I can have lots of storage, and some things I have a drawer within a drawer. And then over here we have a dishwasher. You can't even tell it's a dishwasher. It's got a panel on it, but it pulls out and it's there, but it looks like the rest of the cabinets. And then I have an in-island microwave, and we didn't use the drawer microwave. We just used a regular microwave and have a trim piece that we put on it to make it look like it's built in. And then I've got storage underneath there and above it. And then we have quartz countertops that we also purchased through IKEA. And then we have a giant pantry over here to my right. Plenty of space for everything. Meal prep is great. I've got a 10-foot island, so it's lots of counter space. Everything is in a triangle like it should be. I don't have to go very far, and I just love it. And I can look out to the lake when I'm cooking. I love that. Deciding on what kind of oven to have was a little bit of a decision. My husband told me I could have anything I wanted because he was already putting a propane tank in for our water heater. We have an on-demand water heater attached to the outside of the house. I like gas, so we decided on this propane stove, and it can go between natural gas or propane if they get natural gas out here, but they don't have it. And I love propane cooking. I want to mention when living out in the country, there's some challenges to just running to the store because you forgot milk. We have a second refrigerator in our garage and it's stocked full, just like the one here in the kitchen. So that helps us with food storage. We live about 45 minutes from the closest grocery store or any kind of a store. There are a couple little places in town, maybe they do have milk and bread, but that's about it. They don't have much of anything else. So I do go through town several times a week to go to work or to go see my mother. And I will always hit the stores on the way to and from the house. And again, a big refrigerator, not a little tiny one in the garage, helps with food storage. When I'm in here in the kitchen, I love it because I can watch the grandkids at the table. Sometimes they're sitting at the bar here. Families in the living room. Some of them are out on the deck admiring the view. It's wonderful to cook in this kitchen, looking at that view out there. Right here at the dining room table is where the magic happens. I entertain 5 grandkids, 2 daughters and their husbands on a regular basis. They love to come here and have me cook for them. In fact, I think tonight they're coming. All the grandkids sit on this little bench. It's a 10-foot table, so plenty of space for about 10 people. I could probably squeeze some more in there. And the views are fantastic and the food is great too. The dimensions of this space are 18 foot wide, 55 feet long. When you first walk in, you're met by the living room. I wanted one large room. I did not want any walls, as least walls as I had to have. Then you head to our big dining table, which it seats 10, plenty of room. And then you go right into our kitchen, hallway down to the loft that the grandkids hang out at, into our bedroom, a large closet that we had designed by Container Store, and then into a large bathroom. When you head outside, we have a 71-foot deck that faces the lake, and then we have a 16-foot wide breezeway. That's where the southern dog trot part of our house is. And then on the other side of that breezeway is a large, I think it's 18 by 14-foot guest house with a bathroom, and you have room for a little kitchenette if you wanted to put that in. We chose this house in retirement mainly for the lake and the views, and we didn't want something very big. Easy to clean, LVP flooring, plenty of storage. I found it very easy to get rid of some things and downsize. We're kind of minimalist at heart also because we love the mid-century modern aesthetic, and we just love it out here. At the time that we designed this place, we looked at previous designs of Kanga room systems. My husband and I lived in an apartment at the time because we had sold our house, readying ourselves to move into this place. And on a napkin, many times going over it and over it and over it to make sure that our furniture would fit and what I wanted to place in this space. He would stand with a measuring tape at the other end of the apartment, and we would measure the couch and the chairs, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't too crowded, and I'm surprised that we got it pretty good. We got plenty of furniture for people to sit at, but it doesn't feel too crowded. This is a Harry Bertoia chair from the 1950s we bought in Palm Springs, California years ago. Got this couch, all modern, a great place to buy modern furniture. This we got at World Market. We got this at West Elm as some of the other pieces that we purchased. West Elm has a lot of mid-century modern Scandinavian furniture, and then CB2, which is Crate and Barrel's younger, hipper sister, and that's where I prefer to buy my furniture. We find living here cozy. We try to practice a Norwegian saying called hygge, the coziness, especially in the wintertime. I like a smaller space because it does feel more secure and safe and cozy. That's it for our living room area. We watch TV, we hang out, have drinks, entertain friends, and we love it. On our way to our bedroom and bathroom, the ensuite area, and we have placed our washer and dryer in this closet. They're stackable, and then we have a big cabinet next to it to put our cleaning supplies in. Okay, everyone, we're in our beautiful bedroom. It's not big, but it has everything you need in it. We had to go from a king to a queen, not a problem. Bought these nightstands from West Down, love them, perfect size for our bedroom. I wanted to mention we have a mini split in all of our rooms. It's air conditioning, ductless air conditioning, which we love because it's nice and cool in here. TV, and then of course our beautiful view when we wake up in the morning. It feels like we're in a tree house. You're probably wondering where our dresser is. We like to store our clothes in the closet and not have a dresser in our bedroom. So come with me. Okay, folks, we're in our closet. It's plenty big. We had Container Store design it for us. We just gave them the measurements and they helped us figure out what we needed. I have drawers here in our closet for both my husband and I. Plenty of room. I don't have tons of clothes like a lot of women do, but I just wear a few things, so this is more than enough.
We found this place by visiting with friends, and we decided that we wanted to have this kind of lifestyle out on the lake. We looked for weeks and weeks, and one day they just called up and said, hey, this piece of property came up for sale. We instantly drove out here and took a look at it and ended up being the perfect place for us. When we discovered the property and we came out and looked at it, there was 3 lots. He wanted to sell the whole thing for $300,000, but we decided at our age and time in life that we could just buy 1/3 of it, and the owner was willing to divide it into 3 separate lots. And the price being where we could afford it, which was $100,000 for a 0.75 lot. We decided to jump on it at that point. It seemed to be a perfect fit for us.
May be the case for other places also. You just need to ask. Kangaroo Systems, the builder who built this house, they offer several ways. Ours is prefab, so that's a less expensive way to build a house. We opted for a shell instead of them finishing the interior of the house. So they built the outside, painted, did the deck and everything, stained it, and then they left and they were done. And then we moved in, and it was quite an
adventure.
Yeah, quite an adventure. We just had subfloors and we didn't have a kitchen. It was pretty much camping out, but he and I either finished it ourselves or we hired it out. You know, we don't tile, so we, we didn't put the floors in. We hired somebody to do that. But it took about another year to complete the inside. Mm-hmm. It was about $175. This was about 3 years ago for the outside of the house, and probably another $50 for the interior finish work. The utilities are out here in the country, I think, are much cheaper. Our electric bills are probably $100 a month and probably $150 in the summer when it's $110, which I think is very reasonable. We have a high roof, so you would think it would be more expensive, but it's not. Water is cheap. It's like $80 a month. We sold our last house in one day, 16 offers, and way over asking. But that was at a certain time of, 3 years ago when the market was hot. It's not quite so hot now with the interest rates being a little higher, but it allowed us to pay cash for this house, basically.
One of the biggest gains that we've realized was being mortgage free at this time. It's taken a lot of pressure off of being retired, semi-retired, and just looking forward to the rest of our days.
We're having a blast. This is our main bathroom that my husband and I share. We have double vanities, again, IKEA cabinets and IKEA countertops, which we love. Everything is drawers, just like we had in the kitchen, lots of room. I opted for a piece of furniture in here to store some things instead of a built-in. And then we have a giant shower, as you can see. Living out here in the country, you have to have a septic tank. Now, we opted for an aerobic septic tank, which I think is the best because you can have a disposal and it just works much better. It has a sprayer. We have an area in the corner of our property for that. We have an on-demand water heater, which we love, and then we have a circulator for our guest house. So when we have people staying there in the winter, we circulate the hot water before they get into the shower and they don't have to sit there and waste water. Where we live, we didn't dig a well. For one thing, it's just rock out here, so there's no digging. It's very difficult. So we get our, I think, municipal water from a company that piped it in from a water tower across the lake. Here in this house, we were unable to put a curbless shower in like we did in our other home because we have a pier and beam home here. But we did opt for a bench. As we age and can't stand, in the shower like older people can't, we can just sit on the bench and take a shower that way. We're up here in the loft where my grandkids hang out. They love it up here. They can see through the loft wall, so they can see that we're down there and everything's good. But it is quiet. That provides a little separation rather than just having a railing. I have 3 twin beds I got from IKEA. It's a trundle bed bottom, so it has rollers on there, so you can wheel them around. They move them around, decide who's they're going to sleep next to and who's not going to be sleeping next to them. There's some toys, and then of course the video game set up for my grandsons. They love that. If I didn't have grandkids and it was just my husband and I or just me, I would still choose a loft. This loft, I've seen some that are very uncomfortable to crawl into. This one's plenty big. We have a nice ladder that goes up to it. We have handles on either side of that ladder, so you have to, just go slow. If you didn't have extra guests or grandkids, you could use it as a nice big watch TV room or study. I think there's many uses for this loft. It's a very comfortable loft. This is part of our 71-foot deck here at the lake. These sliders right here are the sliders that lead into our living area, and then those sliders down there lead into our master bedroom. We have plenty of space here to have a party or entertain a lot of guests. It's a wonderful place. This is what we call the breezeway, and this is where we spend probably 80% of our time. We have a sitting area with a fire pit, and then we have a nice table that we eat at quite a bit. Oh, and this view is why we spend most of our time out here, looking at that lake at night. It's just beautiful. With the sunset, we're facing west, so we have some beautiful Texas sunsets. Right here across from our main house is our beautiful guest house, and I try to set it up like a hotel room so our guests love to stay in it. We have a little entry area. I've got some things out, coffee bar for my guests, and we have an office in here also. We have to have both. Beautiful, again, view of the lake, nice big queen size bed, and then we have a nice size bathroom through here. We definitely wanted a space for our family and guests to stay in when they came out because we live in the country, and so it's a little bit of a drive, and we want everybody to be safe at night, so they love to come out and stay here. Kangaroo Systems, who built our home, build typical tiny homes, and then they build larger tiny homes also, but tiny homes is their bread and butter. The most positive aspect of living out here is our family want to come here because it's fun. We're outside a lot. You have a sense of community. You're close to your neighbors. You can all cook out together. Your kids play together. You don't have fences. We don't have to spend all our time taking care of the house, mowing the yard. I just think it's a great thing. Hope you enjoyed the tour of our home today.
Thank you for watching.
Charles and Sonia have made their small home feel incredibly spacious with their design choices. What do you think? Should we find more small homes like this to tour? Up next, we have Charlene, whose home is 399 square feet, but the clever layout and abundant outdoor space make it feel so much larger. Let's watch.
I'm Charlene Dunham, and I live in Austin, Texas, Travis County. And come on in and see my tiny home. Welcome to my galley kitchen, which has an enormous amount of storage. I have a conventional microwave. This is my pantry. Plenty of storage for dishes and glasses. This model standard comes with an oven. And I didn't want an oven. I wanted extra storage, lots of extra storage. What I do is in this cabinet here, I have an Instapot, a crock pot. I do a lot of stir frying. And for the a few times that I do bake, I have this emerald countertop oven, which is a rotisserie and it bakes. And this is sufficient for me. I don't have to heat up my 399 square feet tiny home to cook something. So it's perfect. There are two reasons why I chose this model, and the main reason was the outdoor space, which we'll look at again later. But the second reason was the galley kitchen. My husband and I were sailors, and we always worked in galley kitchens. And the galley kitchen, I'm just comfortable in it. Everything is nice and close, and it gives a separation from the living space. One of the things I want to add about my kitchen is that I bought this for a tiny home. This is a small space garbage can, and it's perfect. I'm just one lives here. We're fortunate that we have valet trash 3 days a week, and we have valet recycling twice a week in this community. And so I never have a problem with overflowing garbage, even though it is a tiny home garbage can. But I like it because it's unobtrusive in this smaller space. I picked this model but was at the point where I could make modifications, upgrades. And so everything you see here was a custom requirement. And so there's nothing I would change in the kitchen because of the fact that I actually went to the builder's production facility, which was only 40 miles from my home where I lived. And so I was able to watch it develop. And so I wouldn't change anything about this because this is exactly what I want. The major change I made to the production model was that I had the stove taken out. I didn't want it. Again, I don't have any complaints about my kitchen. It's just perfect. This was custom too. This is not a standard washer dryer. They do come, they're stackable, but this is a computer-based Electrolux. It does not vent to the outside, fewer holes, and I love it. It was worth the extra money. And also, I have OCD, and the standard model is white, and I couldn't go stainless steel, white. It would have driven me up the wall. So it had to be stainless steel, and I wanted the computer-based washer and dryer, and I love it. You'll notice that the max height of the interior is 13.5 feet. I didn't want a loft for two reasons. I spent the first 75% of my life accumulating stuff, and my goal is to spend the last 25% of my life getting rid of stuff. And so I made a conscious effort not to get a loft. I don't want to I don't want it to be convenient for me to start buying things and putting it up there. Moreover, at my age, I wasn't going to climb stairs. So I love the height. Welcome to my bedroom. I love this particular model because of the built-in dresser. The drawers are very deep, and I have no problem whatsoever with getting everything I need. In addition, this particular model, unlike a lot of tiny home models, has 2 identical closets, and I find that I have plenty of room to store clothes. I also keep my cleaning supplies in here. I can't stand them exposed. I don't want to look at them. So this was a big, big, big plus. You can also see if I needed it, I could build shelves above this runner, but I haven't needed it, and so I don't do it. This is a queen size bed, and there is enough clearance that I do have extra things stored underneath here. But that's a function of the bed and not necessarily the house. But it's just, everything is just perfect. And so this is an oasis, and I love it. Was customized too. I had this added instead of the sheetrock, just because I like the rustic look. I've been here 2 years today, June the 1st. And one of the things that I needed to figure out before I moved was how was I going to buy things, find things that would accommodate the tiny space. And so if you don't mind looking at my clothes hamper, this is a clothes hamper for tiny homes. It's actually advertised for tiny spaces. So maybe a loft, a small loft, and it's just perfect. Some of my neighbors use their dryer or washing machine for a clothes hamper. I couldn't do that. No way. And welcome to the facility. This is my bathroom. In this particular model, this is called, or considered, I should say, a mid-sized bathroom. It's not the smallest, and it's not the largest. It has a lot of storage space. Everything that I need, I will go in here. There's also room for storage up there, but I haven't found it. I did a great job downsizing, so I haven't had to add anything up there. But the drawers are deep and organized. Plenty of room underneath here. This is a standard toilet, and this is my walk-in shower. I chose the subway tile, which I really like, against the dark of the wood and the floor, and it's terrific. I have a 20-gallon water heater, and I don't move in for the day. When I take a shower, 20 gallons is plenty of hot water for me. I did not want a tub. I insisted on a rain shower, but you can buy models, of course, with tubs. It would probably be different if I had children to bathe, but I don't have little children, so I wanted to shower, and I love it. Welcome to my living room. This living room, the way it's constructed, and the reason I chose this particular model was this half wall gives an illusion of a separation of spaces, and I wanted my living room essentially separated from my kitchen. This model came with an indoor electric fireplace, and I didn't want it. Again, storage is what I went for. So my electronics and all of the things that go, the accoutrements, DVDs. Yes, I still have DVDs. I don't stream everything. And then, of course, I had the wood-burning fireplace outside, and I thought there was a redundancy here that I just didn't need if I had to give up storage space. So that was another custom feature, which is your option. I'm sure it was a lot cheaper for the builder to put this in than it would have been to wire and everything for the electric fireplace. This was in my study at my home before I bought the tiny home, and I've lived with this double recliner for 2 years, and made the decision about 2 months ago to get rid of the double recliner and buy a single recliner and another barrel chair to put in this corner. This is extremely comfortable, but I've decided it's just a little bit too bulky. And it's interesting because as people move in, they do the very same thing. They live with what they brought with them that they thought they couldn't live without. And then they go, you know what, I can live without that. I would rather do perhaps something different. But you just do a little bit at a time. This is the only thing I brought with me. The only thing I brought with me that I'm going to change. And it's just simply because I want the illusion. It's going to be more than an illusion, but visually it's going to really look like it's much larger than it is. But again, I'm very happy here. I spend 45 to 50% of my waking hours outside in my outdoor living space, and so this is just perfect. I love this model, and I looked at about 7, 8 different models, and this is one that just ticked off all the buttons. I was a teacher, and I was going to retire. I worked until I was 70, and it's a long time. And my dad encouraged me to not die in my classroom like I said I always would, because I love teaching. But between my father passing away in April of 19 and February of 20, I started looking and thinking, I'm going to go tiny. I lived in a large home on a ranchette. My husband and I had 50 acres. We bought 50 acres out in the country and built our retirement home. He passed away in 07. He passed away in 07, and I kept the house and the land for a very, very long time and decided I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I was retiring. So my father passed away in April, and in October, by then I had researched going tiny, and of course I always watch the videos, and and Facebook and YouTube, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. If I'm going to retire, I'm going to make some major changes. And so I moved here. We're back on the deck. And again, as I mentioned earlier, there were 2 reasons I picked this model. One was the galley kitchen, and the second is the outdoor living space. I spend close to between 45 and 50% of my waking hours out here, socializing with my neighbors, and they're always over here, which is great. And it's got a wood-burning fireplace, which I love. It's the only model that I looked at that had an outdoor fireplace and that it was wood-burning. I was able to pick the color of my deck, which is a brown tone as opposed to the standard gray. You just have to work with your builder in order to get exactly what you want. I love the rustic feel and look of the cedar rails. It carries on back here. This is a side deck, and so it carries on through here. On this side space, I have a second entrance, and this goes into my bedroom. So if I have a bad nightmare, I can get out of the house really quick. I use this for quiet time because there's very little traffic. Quiet time is usually in the morning, very early before the sun comes up, and I just sit here and I will catch up on the news on my phone or iPad, and it's just really quiet. Also, you're not quite as visible as I am on my front deck. In this community, which is the number one thing I love most about this community, is the neighbors that live here. But if I'm on the front porch, it's an invitation to come on in. And so if I need some peace and quiet, or just getting my day started, I'll come over here. I will say that in the past, and of course in the future as well, when we have potlucks, what I do on this deck is I put a bar here. We have tables, and I'll put a bar here with Cokes and soft drinks and ice and glasses, and then narrow tables that run up the length from here almost to the stairs, where we put food because we have potlucks, and so everybody brings the food. So it's perfect space this deck is for entertaining, and we do a lot of entertaining here. So if I were to move this, I suppose they'd have to take it. Well, they moved it here with the deck on. So somehow or another they got it here. And the only thing that was added aftermarket was the stairs. They added that. And of course, they hooked up all the utilities underneath and then skirted it. Something I'd like to add about the deck area, this is a west-facing home, and so aftermarket, I added the custom drapes. And you can't go anywhere, just anywhere, to get drapes that are 13.5 feet tall. And so they had to be custom made. But the first summer that I had the drapes up, I have a friend who is a community member who has a gauge that I took the temperature of the deck, and it was like 169 degrees. And when I got these up, a little bit later on, I did the very same thing, and it was 87 or 88 degrees. So it makes a huge difference. And the good thing is, I don't like them closed. Believe it or not, I'm claustrophobic and live in a 399 square foot house, but it doesn't bother me because of the model I chose. But I don't like to isolate myself, so I'd only close it in the hot summer, probably from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon till about, because the sun starts going down behind my neighbor's house about 6:30. So, and they're never shut in the winter or the autumn. Or the spring, actually. But anyway, they look good. The designer did a great job, and they are functional, not just decorative. It's the utilities. My water bill is 68. My water sewer is 68 cents a month. When I tell someone that, they go, "So you mean $68? I said 68 cents. And I think, again, it's because the community share, the water. I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. It's what I've been paying for 2 years. Because it's small and because the maintenance is all provided in the lot fee, I don't have to worry about anything. And neighbors look after neighbors. The other really positive thing is that it takes me an hour to clean my house from top to bottom. From top to bottom. I'm talking about dusting fan blades. I'm talking about cleaning baseboards, sweeping, mopping, dusting. And, so, oh my gosh, it's just so convenient. Even if you don't travel, even if you're here, it's just so easy. The maintenance is just so easy. At this point in time in my life, it was the perfect thing for me to do. I have no regrets, and I would do it again. So thank you so much for coming. Do your research, find the right house, know where you're going to put it, and I think you'll be as happy. Hopefully, you'll be as happy as I've been here. Thank you. Bye.
I love that Charlene has all of that outdoor space, and she's made it look so cute too. Last on this list, we have Alice's 2-story small home. At 760 square feet, she has lots of room for hobbies and entertaining. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Alice. This is my tiny house that I call the Witch Hut, and I would love to give you a tour. Welcome to my kitchen. What was most important to me was having the kitchen on a different level than my bedroom, just so I don't have to smell cooking all the time. And I also really liked the idea of having open shelving because I have a lot of friends who are artists, and I wanted to collect mugs and show off what I had gotten from my friends. And also, I really like growing herbs, and so I like just having them be here. I always had the thought that I just wanted to start with whatever was cheapest, and hopefully I'll sort of grow into my house, and someday I'll be able to have handcrafted cabinets from a friend or really beautiful countertops, but right now it's my starting point. It didn't seem that important to me to have a dishwasher just because it's just me living in my house, and I also really like the process of doing my dishes by hand. I think it's a little bit grounding. What was most important was having a stovetop and an oven, and being able to have a really full-size one, not wanting to have one that was super tiny. My fridge I really love because it's sort of a 3/4 size fridge. So it's also perfect for one person. I think going in, I thought I was gonna need a lot more cabinets than I ended up needing, and it feels like plenty of space for me. I was just getting out of a really terrible divorce and was trying to start over, but didn't have a very big budget. And I also really liked the idea of a house being a size just for myself. I reached out to Downsized because they're the only place in Asheville really that does custom-built tiny houses. And I really wanted to work with someone who specialized in tiny houses because it's so different to build a big house versus a little house in terms of how you think about the space and how to make it feel bigger than it actually is. I really loved that Kevin, the designer, was so open to my ideas. They were also really understanding of the fact that I had a small budget because they're used to dealing with people who have small budget. Welcome to the living room. I really like that it's such a multi-purpose space. It started out in my mind as being just for me, and over the years, I've been adding more things to make it more comfy for friends to come over. It's definitely a flexible space in that I can just move the couches really easily because it's a concrete floor. Anytime I want to do pole dancing, and I also have my watercolor studio set up here. I also have a bunch of storage for all of my art supplies because I have a ton of them. And then behind me, Kevin also did a great job of trying to figure out where to put the washer and dryer. So he scooched them underneath the stairs and they work perfectly under there. I also love having sort of a utility room that's behind the laundry. It's really great to just have one room that's pure chaos, I think, that I just don't have to worry about. And then I have these really beautiful French doors that are actually, it's like a double set of French doors. And when I worked with Kevin at Downsized, we were both really adamant that this is a basement, and so it could get really dark down here. And so we wanted to have a lot of light, and it was really tricky to make it happen because my house is net zero ready, which means that it's just really energy efficient, but it's a lot harder to make that happen when you have big windows. So that was something that I did spend a lot of money on, was getting high efficiency windows and doors. But I felt like it was worth it to feel like it's not a basement in here. So I love that I can just do so many projects down here and it doesn't feel so stuck as just a dining room or just a living room. It can be everything for me. This is my entryway, and this is Kevin's idea. He was really stressing the importance when we were working together and designing the house of not just going straight into my bedroom when you open the door, or not going straight into the kitchen. You have this space where you can meet people and then decide where you want to go with them after that. And it's also a great opportunity to have more storage. So this is a really beautiful old cabinet that I use as a piece of art. And also it's a chaos drawer. Again, I think it's important to just have spaces where it can just be like, it doesn't matter what goes in there, everything. And I also really like having the high ceilings in here because it makes it feel bigger than it actually is in here. My bathroom. This is probably the space where I wish that I had the more storage. I'm constantly shuffling through things, trying to figure out where I put a bottle of something or other. One thing that has been helpful is just having like a little wire extra storage thing that hangs on my towel rack for things that I use every day. I most love my bathtub. I have a bathtub and a shower, and I actually bought the bathtub before I even had any idea what the house was gonna look like because I really was so excited about having a bathtub. I do really like having handmade tile in here. Everything else is just kind of like as cheap as I could get it. And then I decided if I just have one thing that's really special, then it makes everything else feel more special in here. So the total cost of my house was $168,000. That was my loan, but then I paid out of pocket for things like my fridge and my washer dryer. That was a really amazing option that Nanostead offered me. The plot of land that I have is also really conducive for a tiny house because it's so small. It's only 1/10 of an acre, but it's part of a community that's high efficiency. So every house that's built in this neighborhood has to be either net zero ready or net zero. It was really hard to find a piece of land that allowed me to build a tiny house. And it was also tricky to talk to the bank because they didn't know what category to put me in because my house is 760 square feet. And so it's bigger than a normal tiny house, but smaller than a regular house. And so they just didn't know what to do with me. So they had to make a whole special loan just for me. And it was funny to talk to bankers because they were like, surely no one can live in under 1,000 square feet. But they can. And I actually think it's plenty of space. This is my bedroom. Definitely takes up the most space. Definitely makes it feel like I live in a bigger house when I have a bigger bedroom. And a big part of that is that the ceilings are really high, and so it feels like there's just infinite space in here. I have just a mini split for heating and cooling, and that works amazingly well. There's so much space in here that I have a little area for reading over in the corner, and it's also really nice to have a nice big closet. So it feels like there's plenty of room to do things, do more projects mostly. Also, my bedroom walks out onto my deck and it has a really sweet view of a big forest behind me, so that also helps give me a sense of space. I would say the only thing that's hard about my bedroom is that I live on a really busy road, and so if I were to build my house again, I think I would put my bedroom on the ground floor where it's insulated by the earth a little bit more. What advice I might give other people who are thinking about living in a tiny house, and I highly recommend it. Be really perseverant and grumpy with bankers. I definitely had to call the bank a few times and shop around and tell them to check my credit score again and check my accounts again, because I thought that I did qualify for a loan, even though they would argue with me that I didn't. So being perseverant and believing that it can actually happen goes a long way. I'm an artist for my job, and having this house constantly feels like I'm just working on another art piece. Thank you for watching my tour of my tiny house. I'm a jeweler as my job. I've been wearing all of my, or some of my work, and you can find more of it on my Instagram or my website. Thanks so much for watching.
There you have it for Not So Tiny Homes. Let us know in the comments which one was your favorite. And thanks for watching.